Hello, and welcome back to another episode of TEW 2020 WWE. Bragging rights is in the rear view mirror now. We're going to be looking at the fallout to that, as well as beginning to build up to our next pay-per-view events here in October, as we very quickly approach the end of 2021 here in the universe. We have the SmackDown exclusive Halloween Havoc, and the Raw and NXT shared Extreme Rules. Things are going to get very extreme on both shows, I assure you. But we're starting here with Monday Night Raw, and out comes Edge, former WWE champion, lost the title to Angel Garza at SummerSlam, made his return at bragging rights, going right for Adam Cole, going right for the WWE champion Adam Cole. 490, makes his way out to the ring, and Edge is angry. He's pissed off. He's screaming. He's shouting. He talks about SummerSlam. He says that he told Angel Garza. He warned him. He said he didn't know what he would do if he lost that WWE title. And that was honest. He didn't know what he was going to do. And what he did to Garza, he says he's sorry, but he warned him. And then he moves on to Adam Cole, saying that slimy asshole is parading around here as the WWE champion now, and that makes Edge even angrier. He says what he did at bragging rights, that was just the first step, because just hurting Adam Cole, that's not my goal. I'm going to break him, and I'm going to take back what's mine. I'm going to take back my WWE Championship for an 80. And then Edge calls out Adam Cole. He tells him to get down here right now so he can kick his ass all over again. But there's no response, there's no answer. Edge gets frustrated, and he says, you know what? I didn't think you'd come out anyway, Adam, because that'll be what a man would do, and you're not a man. You're just a scumbag. So you know what? If you won't come to me, I'll come find you for an 89. And then Edge throws the mic onto the floor. He exits the ring and he charges up the ramp, heading backstage. Very good start to the show here. Edge, clearly very passionate, very set on regaining that WWE Championship. Before we head into the first match of this evening, we got two matches tonight. Angelo Dawkins versus Riddle, which is next up, and then Miz versus Tyler Breeze later on. The winners of those will face next week, and the winner of that will be the United States Championship #1 contender at Extreme Rules. So first up, Angelo Dawkins versus Matt Riddle, and in the end, Matt Riddle picks up the win with that bro mission for a 74 here. Dawkins no choice but to tap out. 62 for Dawkins, 70 for Riddle. Both men doing it well here, as Riddle picks up a victory at last. Matt Riddle earning a spot in that United States Championship #1 contenders match next week. Before we very frantically head backstage, where we find Edge attacking the United States champion Kyle O'Reilly's beating down Kyle O'Reilly, obviously caught unaware, unable to defend himself, all alone. Edge just beating down on him, saying, where are you, Adam, huh? Is this how you treat your boys, huh? Throwing him into walls. Eventually, security showing up, separating Edge from Kyle O'Reilly for an 85 here. Edge angry. Edge still looking for Adam Cole here. For next up, we have the Celtic Warriors come out. A dominant display from them at bragging rights, destroying NXT and SmackDown's tag team champions on their way to victory. And now Sheamus going in one-on-one action against Drew Gulak here. And Sheamus picks up the win with a brogue kick for a 74, 66 from Sheamus and a 62 from Drew Gulak. Good match between these two. Sheamus, another dominant display. After the match, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre setting up Drew Gulak to hit him with the off with your head, when out comes the Hardy Boys. Matt and Jeff Hardy storm down the ramp. Drew and Sheamus abandoning the ring, abandoning Gulak, heading out and going right for the Hardy Boys. And then the Celtic Warriors and the Hardy Boys just brawl up the ramp. Drew and Jeff, Matt and Sheamus. The four men just going at it all the way backstage, fighting it out. These two men, this feud has been bubbling since the start of September. Celtic Warriors moving their attention to bragging rights, but now that's done with, and now they have set their sights once again on the Hardy Boys. And the Hardy Boys seemingly have never moved their sight off of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. For next up, we head into that second match I said about earlier. The Miz taking on Tyler Breeze, the winner taking on Matt Riddle next week in the United States Championship #1 contenders match. And in the end, next up, we cut to a promo from the Hardcore Champion Tommaso Ciampa talking about bragging rights, saying that he warned Pete Dunne. He told him to stay away from Team Raw, but he persisted, he kept coming. So obviously, he needed to be taught a lesson. And that is what Tommaso Ciampa did. He taught Pete Dunne a lesson. So maybe Pete Dunne, maybe next time he'll listen. Maybe next time he'll pay attention. Maybe next time he won't make Tommaso Ciampa hurt him like that again. Because if Pete Dunne knows what's good for him, He'll wait out to the draft and pray he gets drafted away from Tommaso Ciampa, because if Ciampa sees him again, he's going to break him again. For 78 here, Ciampa obviously not very happy with Pete Dunne, to put it lightly. Before we head into the second match I announced earlier, The Miz taking on Tyler Breeze, the winner of which will face Matt Riddle next week in the United States Championship #1 contenders match. And in the end, The Miz coming out on top with the skull-crushing finale. 77 for the match, really good match. All the matches have been really good so far, 74, 74, 77. 73 from The Miz, 63 from Tyler Breeze. Happy with this. The Miz getting the win next week. Matt Riddle versus The Miz. The winner will take on Kyle O'Reilly at Extreme Rules for the United States title. The match next week, and whoever faces Kyle O'Reilly in the end, I'm sure, will be good matches. We cut to a little promo video announcing the main event. It will be Edge taking on Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish in a handicap match, where if Edge wins, then Edge will earn a shot at Adam Cole and earn a shot at the WWE Championship. Exactly what he wants. He took out Kyle O'Reilly. He just has to take out the other two Undisputed Era members, and then he gets his hands on Adam Cole for a 64 here. Big announcement for the main event tonight. Hopefully that will be good. Edge clearly angry, and now getting the opportunity to get his anger out on even more Undisputed Era members. Before we go back to the ring, to Ember Moon, the Women's World Champion, making her entrance for 77, and then she talks about bragging rights, saying she was disappointed to lose, to tap out, but she gave it everything she's got, and she can be proud of that against two incredible athletes in Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. But she is still Women's World Champion, and she is a fighting champion. She wants to prove that she deserves this belt, and so she is issuing an open challenge right now to someone to come face her, face the Women's World Champion, and prove they deserve a shot at this title for a 76. And that challenge is answered by Deonna Purrazzo, accompanied, of course, by Chelsea Green and Lana, her little gang, coming out and accepting that challenge from Ember Moon for an 81 here. And so next up, we will have the Women's World Champion Ember Moon taking on Deonna Purrazzo. And in the end, Ember Moon picking up the win with an eclipse. Ember Moon getting the victory for a 75. Another really good match for the show. 71 from Ember Moon, 61 from Deonna Purrazzo. Happy with this, as Ember Moon comes out on top, and after the match, Ember Moon gets her arm raised, raises the title in the air. She's happy, she's celebrating, when out of nowhere from behind, Sasha Banks appears, runs in from the crowd and hits a backstabber onto Ember Moon, locking her into the bank statement. Ember Moon, no choice but to tap out. Sasha Banks laughing, saying, "This is the champ, huh?" Tapping out before throwing her on the mat, down on the mat. And then Sasha Banks looking down at the Women's World title and picking it up and raising it in the air. A clear message of intent from Sasha Banks here, following her success at Bragging Rights, where she was the sole survivor in the women's 5v5v5 match. An 85 for that post-match segment. Really happy with this. The Women's World title program beginning between these two, heading into Extreme Rules. Before we get ready for the main event, Edge makes his way out to the ring for an 83, and then the match, Edge versus Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong in a handicap match. And the match goes on, the match happening, Edge building up a ton of steam, Edge building up momentum, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong trying to use the numbers of Edge, but Edge fueled by pure rage and anger here. But in the end, Edge getting ready for a spear, when out of nowhere Adam Cole runs in and attacks Edge, taking him down, super kicking him when he goes for the spear, and then attacking him further, getting Edge down on the match, getting a 79. Good match, especially considering the DQ finish. 87 from Edge, amazing in-ring performance. 66 from Strong, 61 from Fish. Very happy with this. And then afterwards, Edge on his knees, Adam Cole pulling his knee pad down, looking in the camera and laughing, slapping his knee pad, saying, "I'm gonna break your neck." Running against the rope, going for that last shot for an 83, when out of nowhere, Edge gets back to his feet and hits a spear on Adam Cole, taking him down. The WWE Champion down. Edge looks over at the title, he grabs it, and he says, "This is mine. I'm going to fight you, and I'm going to take this from you. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting till Extreme Rules." And then he gets really close to Adam Cole. He says, "I'll see you next week," before slamming the WWE title into Adam Cole's chest. Edge gets it. Edge leaving the ring, going up the ramp, and then looking back at Adam Cole, that crazed look still on his face, and an 84 for that end show segment. The show getting an 84. Really good show. All the matches did really well tonight. Really good segments. I'm really happy with this. And with a few matches announced next week, Miz versus Matt Riddle in that US Contenders match, and even more so, the main event, Adam Cole versus Edge for the WWE Championship. What a match. I'm anticipating that being... I can't wait. I'm sure I have really high hopes for that one. But really good start to the week here. Really good start to the post-bragging rights shows. And hopefully we can continue this good run with another episode of NXT. And then NXT gets underway here with William Regal, the NXT General Manager, standing in the ring alongside NXT Champion Karrion Kross, NXT Women's Champion Becky Lynch, NXT North American Champion Keith Lee, Randy Orton, and Chad Gable. And William Regal congratulates the NXT locker room on their win at bragging rights. NXT winning bragging rights with 4 victories to Raw's 2 and SmackDown's 0. NXT winning the battle for Brand Supremacy, NXT winning that number 1 pick in the WWE draft. And William Regal congratulates the superstars in the ring with him, the superstars that got those 4 wins. Orton and Gable winning the men's tag team as the survivors. Keith Lee defeating Bullard and O'Reilly. Lynch beating Ripley and Moon, and Cross in the main event defeating Big E and Adam Cole for an 84. And then William Regal announces that Randy Orton and Chad Gable will fight in the main event tonight. And the loser of that match will face Keith Lee for the NXT North American Championship at Extreme Rules. But the winner will earn a shot at the NXT Champion Karrion Kross at the event. A huge announcement. Randy Orton and Chad Gable both looking at each other, they have that respect. They've been training together, they've been working together, and now they're going to go head to head to earn a shot, to earn a chance at the NXT title for an 81 here. Before we get ready for the first match in the NXT Breakout Tournament, we have a little intro video playing, introducing people to the first 2 competitors here tonight, Odyssey Jones and Omos. 2 massive superstars, 2 Goliaths, who are going to go head to head next up in a first round matchup. This intro video gets a 45, and then the match gets a 43 as Omos comes out on top. Obviously, their popularity is not the highest at the moment, so just going to take some building up, like with the Cruiserweight tournament post-Mania, obviously, just building up ratings of people, and we're going to have to do it again, but I am willing to take the low segment ratings whilst doing that. Omos coming out on top and advancing to the next round of the tournament. The 43, the 39 for in ring for Jones, and the 37 for Omos. Not too bad. I will take that. We then cut to backstage where Becky Lynch is searching for Raquel Gonzalez, and she bumps into Mickie James. Mickie James saying, "Watch where you're going," and Becky Lynch stopping, looking angry, and just turning around the bar, storming into Mickie James. The 2 brawling it out before being separated, and Becky Lynch saying, "I'll see you in the ring for an 84 here." Becky Lynch on the hunt for Raquel Gonzalez after Gonzalez attacked her at bragging rights, and obviously in lieu of finding Raquel Gonzalez, taking our anger on Mickie James here, and she'll look to do that too later on when the 2 go head to head. Then a little intro video plays introducing a new tag team onto the scene in the form of Nash Carter and Wes Lee, MSK, for a 41 here, and they're making their debut next up against the Colons, and they pick up the win on their debut. Wesley pinning Primo following the Hot Fire Flame for a 48 here. Not a bad intro, doing well. Both of them getting in-ring performances of 47. Happy with that. A good start for them as they start to build up their popularity, build some momentum on NXT. 45 for Primo, 39 for Epico. The Colognes doing alright as well. But it's MSK with the win on their debuts here. We then have the entrance of the NXT Women's Champion Becky Lynch, still looking angry, still looking pissed off on her hunt for Raquel Gonzalez. Comes out for the 81 here, and then in her match with Mickie James, picks up the win with the disarmer for a 78, forcing Mickie James to submit. Becky Lynch getting her aggression out on James, an 87 in ring for Lynch, very good, 44 for James, doing alright. Then after the match, Becky Lynch calling out Raquel Gonzalez once again for an 87, and this time Raquel Gonzalez music hits, and Raquel Gonzalez makes her way out onto the ramp, and Becky not waiting for her, storming out of the ring, storming up the ramp, her Raquel charging towards her, the two brawling down the ramp, brawling around ringside, both trying to pick up some momentum, and in the end Raquel Gonzalez manages to lift Lynch up and hit a one-arm powerbomb through the announce table, taking Becky Lynch down. Raquel Gonzalez once again getting the better of Becky Lynch, of the NXT Women's Champion Becky Lynch here for an 82. Very good work from everyone involved in these segments. Show going well so far, I'd say. Before we head into the second NXT Breakout Tournament match of this evening, an intro video playing introducing Baba Tunde, who you may know as Dabba Kato or Commander Aziz, and Bronson Reed for a 54 here. And then in the match itself, Bronson Reed picks up the win with the Tsunami for a 58 here. Bronson Reed coming out on top. In-ring performance of 59 for him, doing very well, Breed. And 38 from Baba Tunde, obviously much lower popularity, but got to build that up over time. But it's Bronson Reed who gets the win and advances to the next round of the NXT Breakout Tournament. And then we get ready to head into the main event of this evening. Gable and Orton making their entrances, and before the bell rings and the two men slowly approach each other, Gable holds out his hand for a handshake, a show of respect. Randy Orton accepting it, Randy Orton shaking Gable's hand for an 85. And then the main event, Chad Gable versus Randy Orton, the loser earning a shot at the NXT North American Championship against Keith Lee at Extreme Rules, and the winner earning a shot at the NXT Championship against Karrion Kross at the event. And both men giving it everything they got. They're not going easy on each other just because they've been working together, because they've been training together, because they've formed this somewhat unlikely alliance. They're both giving it everything they've got, but in the end, maybe the experience of Randy Orton is what helps him come out on top here, hitting an RKO on Chad Gable out of nowhere and picking up the win for a 74. A bit disappointment segment rating wise. Orton got the 84, Gable got the 81, but I will try and not be too annoyed by that. Good match still, good night of wrestling, I would say. Orton, Gable becoming contender to the NXT North American title, and Randy Orton becoming the contender to Karrion Kross's NXT Championship. The two men fought at SummerSlam, and now they will go head to head once again at Extreme Rules. After the match, Randy Orton helping Chad Gable to his feet, a little show of respect, and then Gable raises Randy Orton's arm in the air, a show of respect for him as well, while Gable leaves the ring and heads back up the ramp and backstage, leaving Orton to his moment. Orton getting onto the turnbuckle, doing his pose for an 86 when he's interrupted by Karrion Kross and Scarlett making their way out onto the stage. Karrion Kross staring down at the ring at Randy Orton, who off the turnbuckle by the ring rope staring up at Karrion Kross for an 85 here, when suddenly out of nowhere, having ran in through the crowd, Andrade attacking Randy Orton from behind, beating down on Randy Orton here, hitting Randy Orton with La Sombra in the middle of the ring. Andrade and Orton have had a little feud of their own going in the build-up to bragging rights. Orton very much oftentimes getting the better of Andrade. Andrade getting some of that frustration out on Randy Orton here in the post-match segment. But that won't change the fact that Orton is the number one contender to the NXT Championship at Extreme Rules, and that final segment gets an 86, helping NXT overall in helping the post bragging rights NXT overall get a rating of 79. I think the main event being just a 74 brought that down a little bit here. I would have been better off putting Becky Lynch in the main event, it would seem, but I won't complain too much. Still a decent show, I would say, overall. Overrating was 79. Not the best, not the worst though. As things are starting to build up heading into Extreme Rules, we have the NXT title and NXT North American title contenders. It looks like we've got a little bit of an NXT women's feud going. The breakout tournament's underway. MSK have debuted. There is plenty to be getting on with in NXT heading into Extreme Rules, and I am happy with all of it overall so far. As we head into the final show, of the week, as we look at the fallout from bragging rights following a disastrous night for the brand where they got 0 wins out of 6. It's time for an episode of SmackDown. And SmackDown getting right into it here with a very angry Paige. Paige, general manager of SmackDown, obviously not happy with SmackDown losing all of their matches at bragging rights, getting 0 wins out of 6, finishing last, getting in that last pick in the draft. Paige, furious, and she says that all 4 of her champions lost. And she doesn't want losers for champions. So tonight, all 4 championships will be defended. Big E will defend his Universal title. Leon Ruff and Lio Rush will defend their tag titles. Thaddeus Bullard will defend his Intercontinental title. Rhea Ripley will defend her Women's Universal title. And Big E will defend his Universal Championship. All 4 champions will have to prove they deserve those titles if they want to keep them tonight. For a 65, and we go straight to the Universal Champion, Big E. He says that he felt he had it. He knew he had Karrion Kross beat until that masked person attacked him with that steel pipe, took him out. His back still hurt. He's a bit taped up. And he says that if someone wants to go, if someone wants to challenge him and step up and be a man, he'll be waiting for him. But for now, he's got to focus on tonight, defending his Universal Championship. And he says he doesn't have a problem with it. He's a fighting champion. If Paige wants him to defend this title, he'll do it. He'll do it against whoever she wants, and he looks forward to doing it for an 80 here from Big E. Before we head into the first championship match of the night for the Women's Universal title, Rhea Ripley taking on the superstar who got the most eliminations for SmackDown's women's team at bragging rights, the $1 Million champion Bianca Belair. And Rhea Ripley does manage to retain that title for a 53. Very disappointing segment rating, to be honest. It's the lack of psychology, sadly. 73 from Rhea and the 59 for Bianca. I also think it's probably because of the storyline-wise. The storyline's just starting, so you have to build them up again for it to count, I suppose. But that is okay. Rhea Ripley retaining her title. A little show of respect between the 2 champions after the match as they shake hands for an 80 here. We then cut to Naomi being interviewed with Nia Jax there as well, the women's tag team champions, and Naomi asked about her actions at bragging rights, and she said that she saw Charlotte Flair laugh at her, and Charlotte Flair thinks she's better than her, but she's not. So she put her in her place, she humbled her, and she enjoyed watching Charlotte Flair tap out. She enjoyed watching Charlotte Flair suffer and be in pain, and she's going to enjoy beating Charlotte Flair when she can get her hands on her for a 64 here. Fighting talk from one half of the women's tag team champions, Naomi there. As next up we head into the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. It's going to be the champions Leon Ruff and Lio Rush taking on SmackDown's newest signings, who debuted at bragging rights and attacked Ruff and Rush after the match, beating them into the mat. Of course, Spanish Fly, the new team of Alfonso Bourbon, formerly known as A-Kid from NXT UK, and Socrates Torres, formerly known as Sammy Guevara from AEW. And both teams giving it everything they've got, but in a perhaps shock result in their debuts, Spanish Fly pick up the win here. Socrates Torres rolling up Leon Ruff out of nowhere to pick up the victory. Spanish Fly in their debut have won the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Ruff and Rush can't believe it. They're shocked. They're disappointed. Spanish Fly are in heaven right now. A 57 for the match. 64 from Socrates Torres. 57 for Lio Rush. 39 for Alfonso Bourbon. And a 38 for Leon Ruff. Good match after the match. Spanish Fly celebrating winning the SmackDown Tag titles in their WWE debut as a team here for a 52. Incredible work from Spanish Fly, with a big statement on their arrival to the blue brand. We then go to Big E walking around backstage. He's alerted, he notices a commotion, he runs over and he finds Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, his New Day brothers, taken out, both on the floor unconscious. He's checking on them, he's calling for the medics. He can't believe it. Someone has taken out Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods here for an 86 here. Is this related to the masked man who attacked Big E at bragging rights? We'll have to wait and see. It's an 86 for that segment. Before we go back to the ring to the entrance of the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the World, Thaddeus Bullard, for an 84. And he's looking cocky, he's looking confident. He's ignoring bragging rights. Him and Paul Heyman don't even mention it. They don't acknowledge it. They just wait. Bullard saying that whoever Paige wants to send out to get beat, go ahead for an 85. And then Paige comes out onto the ramp. Then Paige's music hits. She comes out onto the ramp and she says that she sees how cocky Bullard is, how confident he is. She hears it every week. Undefeated Thaddeus Bullard, the great one, who's going to hold that title to Survivor Series and then cash it in to win the Universal Championship, all planned out so perfectly in his head. And so she She wondered who would be best to take on Bullard here, and she has found the perfect person. So she would like to introduce Thaddeus Bullard's opponent and SmackDown's newest superstar, who SmackDown have traded their first draft pick for, Finn Balor. Finn Balor coming out onto the ramp. Balor had his issues leading up to bragging rights with Bullard and Apollo Crews, and now he is on the blue brand, and he has a match right now against Bullard for that Intercontinental Championship for an 86. Bullard and Balor going at it. Bullard and Balor both wanting to come out on top here. Balor building the momentum. Balor taking down Bullard with the switchblade, with the sling blade. Balor hitting a 1916, getting ready for that coup de grace when out runs Apollo Crews, attacking Finn Balor, causing the disqualification. Finn Balor picking up the DQ win, but not winning the Intercontinental title. 87 for the match. What a match between these two superstars here. Really good rating. 86 for Balor, 79 for Bullard. Very happy with this. And then after the match, Apollo Crews beating down on Balor. Thaddeus Bullard getting to his feet and joining in as Bullard and Crews just take out Finn Balor. Crews lifting up Balor, throwing him into Bullard, who hits Balor with the Bullard bomb to end the segment for an 88 here. Bullard standing tall with that Intercontinental title. Going backstage to Charlotte Flair, talking about her ever-growing list of enemies around here, saying that the mysterious hooded figure, if they ever want to show their face, she'll take them out. Naomi, when they get in the ring, she'll take her out. But she's tokened to Paige, and next week she's going to start with Nia Jax. She's going to start with Naomi's little partner of hers, and she's going to take her out first, and then she's coming for Naomi, and then she's coming for that hooded figure, and then the queen of WWE is coming to get some gold that she so rightfully deserves for a 67 here. Charlotte Flair, not very good at making friends around here, very clearly, but ready to take on her list of enemies. Before we head into the main event of this evening for the Universal Championship, the Universal Champion Big E taking on the man who got the most eliminations for SmackDown's men's team at bragging rights, Johnny Gargano, the makeshift captain, so to speak. He wasn't the official captain, but he was the elected leader, really. And Gargano getting an opportunity here, his first ever World Championship match against Big E, the Universal Champion, here in the main event of SmackDown, and in the end, Big E manages to come out on top, manages to hit that big ending onto Johnny Gargano to pick up the win and retain his Universal title. An 88 for the match, another really good match. I thought Bullard and Balor were surely going to be matching tonight with that 87, but Big E and Gargano pulling out of the bag with the 88. Really, really good work from SmackDown tonight. Going to be the show of the week. 84 for Big E, 87 for Johnny Gargano, both doing amazingly in ring-wise to help towards that segment rating, as Big E comes out on top after the match. A show of respect between the two, shaking hands, Gargano lifting Big E's arm, Gargano heading backstage, Big E in the ring with the title, when suddenly, for an 84, the lights go out. And as they are so often do, when they come back on, standing behind Big E is The Fiend, who grabs Big E and hits him with a Sister Abigail onto the mat. The Fiend taking out the Universal Champion here. And then The Fiend looking over to that Universal title he once held, stroking his hand across it. And then the lights go out again, and when they come back on, The Fiend is gone, and all that's left is Big E out cold in the middle of the ring for an 82 here. We're heading towards Halloween Havoc, and The Fiend is setting his sights on Big E and that Universal Championship. Really good SmackDown this week. Overall rating of 87. What a show. 2 A-class matches from Balor and Bullard and Big E and Gargano. Really happy. Increased the population to 39 regions. Amazing work to end this week of Fallout from bragging rights and start that build-up on SmackDown towards Halloween Havoc. I've been really happy with this. If you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have, a lot of really good ratings and story progression, I think, then please like and subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.